Hello, everyone. My name is Adam Williams, and you are listening to another episode of Retail Redeveloped. This is going to be a short-form podcast, so we're going to try to pack a lot of information into a really, really short time frame. Today's story is From Old Navy to Madewell, how sub-brands outgrow their parents. Some stores began as a way for retailers to expand their customer base. Then they took over. Sometimes a sub-brand ultimately does a flagship more harm than good. The theory is often sound. Create a new brand to better compete with rivals, which often includes emerging businesses that are disrupting your offer. The result can mean that your customers drift to that new entity, especially if it was developed as a cheap alternative to your existing and successful brand, and subsequently abandon the original. That can induce not just financial and sales defeats, but also a brand conundrum. This phenomenon is on display most vividly at Gap Incorporated. Mickey Drexler, who in the 80s took Gap from a regional apparel brand to a global powerhouse, launched Old Navy to defend against Target and other retailers that had begun selling lower-priced denim and other articles. Old Navy safeguarded the Gap Inc. customers lured by lower-priced private label apparel, which was becoming known as fast fashion. Players like Zara, H&M expanded as a growing wage gap, and then the Great Recession tightened customers' budgets. The sub-brand would have appealing basics similar to the Gap's, but not quite as fashionable, not quite the same quality, but at a much, much lower price point. Soon, Old Navy began to dominate the company's earning reports, most quarters delivering sales and traffic bumps as the Gap sagged. Old Navy, with a few exceptions, has been the feather in Gap Inc.'s earnings hat for several quarters now. In 2017, the company is acknowledging Old Navy's strengths and Gap weaknesses and announced that Old Navy, along with its much smaller athleisure brand, Athleta, would underpin a campaign for long-term balanced growth. Although Old Navy retained Gap Inc. customers who would have fled entirely, it's logical to believe that the brand has siphoned sales from its sibling, weakening it in the process. That's inevitable when an apparel company has several brands in its stable developed to reach specific demos. This past February, Gap Inc. decided that Old Navy deserved to go it alone by splitting it into two independent companies instead. Old Navy will stand alone as an $8 billion annual company with yet-to-be-named new company comprising Gap, Banana Republic, Athleta, and other specialty apparel brands notching in around $9 billion per year in sales. Gap Inc. isn't the only retailer to develop a lower-priced business in order to attract value customers. Nordstrom has seen its off-price rack business mostly perform better than its full-line stores. Macy's more recently made a similar move when it developed its own backstage outlet store as well. Victoria's Secret's Pink, both cheaper and less sexualized, was launched to bring on younger shoppers. And Dayton's, a regional department store based in Minneapolis, decades ago ran a discount chain it then dubbed Target. Hollister, as everyone knows, also serves in the same role for Abercrombie & Fitch. In many cases, prices play a role in the growth. Old Navy's cheaper than Gap, Target cheaper than Dayton's, Rack is cheaper than Nordstrom. Gap's Old Navy play was essentially a defensive one, but another idea behind the side brands at department stores, L brands, and other retailers was that young shoppers with less spending power would move up to the higher-priced flagships as their finances improved and as they got older and had more disposable income. This is what Ascena does, and the Limited tried it first with Limited Express. Lee Peterson, Executive Vice President of Thought Leadership and Marketing at WD Partners, said in an interview, "They created or bought all these brands to try to capture the customer's entire life. You're supposed to graduate to each brand, but you spend every dollar of your apparel life in their brand system. It doesn't happen right away, so it seems like a great idea, but eventually it cannibalizes. This doesn't always go according to plan. Nordstrom, for example, should face the fact that they might not ever turn their budget rack shoppers to the full-line store." Thomas Serdari, a professor of luxury marketing and branding at New York University's Stern School of Business, has been quoted saying, "Someone who is on a small budget prefers to splurge occasionally on brands like Chanel, but also buys from Target. You learn to become more eclectic in thinking, in taste, in how you view the world with no organized hierarchies. Young people are happy when they find something that they like and they stop there. They're immune to a dictatorial direction from one specific brand." Another example, Madewell. the newish denim brand that J. Crew is trying to grow in hopes that its superior performance will make a difference to the company's overall and not very good fortunes at the moment, unlike Old Navy, is not a discount brand, yet it's outperforming its parent because it's achieving that crucial benchmark in retails. The shoppers actually want to buy its merchandise and don't only buy it when it's on, 99% clearance. Retailers sometimes make the mistake of depending on what they think is entrenched brand loyalty that actually isn't shared by its younger customers. In many cases, the younger brand is more innovative and in tune with what consumers want in the moment and is not encumbered with the out-of-date thinking that embodies the parent brand. One way to handle the rise of a sub-brand is to give in to reality. Gap Inc. is doing that to some extent by spinning off Old Navy. But one of the most interesting examples is probably Dayton Hudson, which sold off its flagship, Dayton stores, to the May Company, now owned by Macy's, years ago, and completely changed its name to Target, which, as we all know, is one of the most successful retailers in the entire country. I think they're Fortune top 60 or something like that. It's crazy. A side brand success doesn't mean the inevitable demise of the flagship. American Eagle's Aerie lingerie brand, for example, along with stealing share from market leader Victoria's Secret, is proving to be a boon to its parent. Last month, the teen retailer said that Aerie saw its 18th consecutive quarter of double-digit comps, rising 14%, and is even boosting its flagship women's sales in areas where Aerie sales are within or adjacent to American Eagle stores. Another example, kind of stepping out of the fashion box, is FedEx. It recently announced it will not renew its contract to make ground deliveries for Amazon, which has itself emerged as a major logistics player. The announcement came 2 months after FedEx said it would discontinue U.S. air delivery service for Amazon. Amazon is currently investing in its own delivery capabilities to include cargo planes, local delivery vehicles, 53-foot trucks, networks of warehouses, and logistics. Amazon is already its own biggest shipper. They deliver 48% of their own packages, up 15% from 2 years ago. Now, the idea is to bring on the talent and other resources to allow the new brand to thrive without losing focus on the original. That not only prevents the new arrival from overtaking its parent, but can also bring new vitality to the retailer as a whole. Brands add character to a retailer and provide a uniqueness to the offer that is not available elsewhere. However, to succeed, retailers have to give brands some autonomy and breathing space to do their own thing. Submersing them into the overall corporate culture just doesn't always work. Target would never have been able to develop as a business as successful as it is now if it was run in the same way as its original flagship Dayton department store. I hope you've enjoyed this short-form episode. Please follow me on social, AdamWilliamsCRE.com, AdamWilliamsCRE on LinkedIn, and on Instagram. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes or Spotify, and please reach out if you have any comments or any ideas for future podcast episodes. Thank you again. This has been Adam Williams for Retail Redeveloped.